Picture this. The landscape is vast, the stakes are absolute, and a remarkably grim Texas story is unfolding. We are plunging straight into the bleak perspective of an aging lawman who is desperately trying to track down an incomprehensible new wave of crime. We're talking about a level of escalating violence that the old-timers never, ever had to face. Our anchor in all of this is Sheriff Ed Tom Bell. He's a weary, third-generation lawman. He reminisces about sending a boy to the electric chair who felt absolutely no remorse. But you know what? Even that completely pales in comparison to what he is facing right now. Bell is tracking a merciless killer named Anton Chigurh, and the sheriff is hesitant to push his chips forward to meet something he just simply cannot comprehend. And you can't blame him. This new breed of phantom-like killer literally strangles a deputy, steals his car, and leaves a bloody trail behind him without a second thought.
So, a deal gone wrong. The inciting incident in the desert. This is where the chaos truly kicks off, all thanks to an ordinary guy named Llewellyn Moss who just happens to stumble upon the bloody aftermath of a desert drug trade.
Let's look at how this actually plays out, because it's a cascade of terrible choices. Moss is out there and finds a fleet of shot-up trucks, dead men, and a satchel packed with $2 million. Naturally, he takes the money. But human nature is a funny thing, right? A guilty conscience forces him to do something, well, dumber than hell. He returns in the dead of night with a jug of water for a dying man. This single, fateful act exposes his identity to cartel men who arrive in trucks. Suddenly, he's being chased through the pitch black by vicious dogs and gunfire. He barely makes it home, hurriedly packs up his wife Carla Jean, and sends her to Odessa, basically telling her she is never going to see her old life again.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between our two main players. Our opportunist, Moss, relies entirely on blue-collar ingenuity. He's a practical, retired welder. He's out there buying gear like Larry Mahan boots and tent poles just to fish his stolen money out of an air duct. And then there's Chigurh. He operates with terrifying slaughterhouse efficiency. I mean, he wields a captive bolt pistol. That's a tool powered by blank cartridges normally used to stun cattle before slaughter. And he's using it to blow out door locks and murder witnesses, all while tracking Moss with a high-tech radio transponder. It's totally chilling.
Chigurh leaves this intense trail of psychological terror, too. It's perfectly captured when he forces an unsuspecting rural gas station owner to gamble his entire life on a 1958 coin toss. It really makes you wonder how much of our own lives are dictated by sheer chance, doesn't it? Chigurh tells this bewildered man that the coin has been traveling 22 years to get to this exact moment. He doesn't even view himself as a man, but as an instrument of fate. Call it right, the guy lives. Call it wrong, he loses absolutely everything.
Meanwhile, you've got Sheriff Bell and his deputy Wendell following this escalating carnage, desperately trying to piece together Moss's involvement. Bell is just tracking these grim breadcrumbs. There's the strangled deputy at the station, a driver killed on the highway with no exit wound, a burning '77 Ford, the executed men at the drug deal, and finally, Moss's abandoned truck with its inspection plate pried right off. It hits Bell like a ton of bricks. Moss is running from people who simply will not quit.
Which sparks the cat-and-mouse game, the hunt from Del Rio to Eagle Pass. The continuous pursuit narrows as Moss tries to lay low in a Del Rio motel, totally unaware that Chigurh possesses a receiver tracking the money straight to his room.
Okay, so Moss barely escapes the initial ambush. He finally figures out the tracker is in the bag, so he shoves the money into an air duct and rents a second room to keep watch. When Chigurh breaches the room and ruthlessly executes the Mexican cartel men waiting in the dark, Moss grabs his stash and runs. This sparks a massive, brutal street shootout that leaves both men severely wounded. Bleeding and desperate, Moss literally tosses the money over the border fence, pays a random bystander for a coat to hide his wounds, and lands himself in a Mexican hospital.
The dynamic shifts right here, with the fixer and the threat, as Carson Wells steps in. Wells is an arrogant operative hired by a mysterious executive known only as accounting to retrieve the stash and neutralize the rogue Chigurh.
Wells actually visits Moss in the hospital, warning him that Chigurh is a psychopathic man of peculiar principle. He's someone who absolutely cannot be bought. Wells offers protection, casually noting that Chigurh doesn't even have a sense of humor. But Moss, he completely rejects it. Well, Wells's warning is proven tragically correct back at his hotel. Chigurh easily gets the drop on him, mocks Wells by asking what use his rules were if they brought him to this exact moment, and then he just shoots him mid-conversation. And this next part
brilliantly illustrates the stakes. While literally standing over Wells' bleeding body, Chigger answers a ringing phone. It's Moss. Chigger calmly offers to spare Moss's wife, Carla Jean, but only if the money is surrendered to him directly. He tells Moss straight up, "You can't save yourself, but you can save her." That is the absolute best deal he's going to get.
Leading us to the El Paso climax, the trap closes. Moss stubbornly refuses the deal, declaring he's going to make Chigger his own personal project, and sets a course for El Paso where Carla Jean and her mother are hiding.
All that continuous tension snaps due to a fatal, agonizingly mundane mistake. Carla Jean's mother accidentally reveals their destination to cartel men in suits waiting at the bus station. Sheriff Bell races to intercept Moss after promising Carla Jean he won't let him get hurt. But he's too late. The cartel men arrive first, resulting in a sudden, incredibly violent ambush at a desert motel. Moss is gunned down just before Sheriff Bell can reach him. Bell arrives to find a completely tragic aftermath: shattered glass, crying women, and Moss lying dead.
Which brings us to the dismal tide, the inevitability and the aftermath. The sheer weight of this violence leaves Bell facing what he calls the dismal tide. He laments that it's all about the money and the drugs now, prompting him to visit his uncle Ellis to discuss quitting the force entirely. Ellis, who is confined to a wheelchair in a cabin filled with outlaw cats, grounds Bell with some brutal family history. He recounts how Bell's Uncle Mac was gunned down right on his own porch. Ellis reminds him that the brutality of humanity is nothing new at all. He tells him, "This country is hard on people. You can't stop what's coming. It ain't all waiting on you. That's vanity." It's such a profound realization. Evil isn't some modern invention that you can just hand in your resignation for. And this inevitability finally catches up to Carla Jean. After burying her mother, she returns home to find Chigger waiting in the shadows of her bedroom. He made a promise to Moss, and he fully intends to keep it. But when cornered, she does something amazing. She denies him the comfort of his coin toss. While Chigger claims the coin arrived the exact same way he did, Carla Jean forces him to own his murderous choice. She tells him the coin doesn't have a say. It's just him. Yet even Chigger, with his godlike complex and twisted moral code, isn't immune to random, chaotic violence. Literally moments after leaving her house, he is severely injured in a blindside car crash at an intersection. He sustains a gruesome bone-protruding arm fracture, but showing his terrifying resilience, he methodically bribes two neighborhood boys with a bloody $100 bill for a shirt to use as a makeshift sling. He just limps away down the suburban street before the sirens even arrive, slipping away like a ghost. The story ends quietly, just as it began. Sheriff Bell, now retired, recounts a vivid dream to his wife about his father, who was 20 years younger in the dream than Bell is now. Bell dreams he was on horseback, going through a snowy mountain pass in the dark. His father rode past him without a single word, carrying fire and a horn, fixing to make a fire somewhere out there in all that dark and cold. Bell says he just knew that whenever he got there, his father would be waiting for him. And then he woke up. So, it leaves us to ponder this massive, haunting question. In a world consumed by an unstoppable, dismal tide of violence, what does that fire in Sheriff Bell's dream truly represent? Is it a beacon of enduring hope and human warmth in the encroaching cold? Or is it merely a fleeting memory of a simpler time that has been forever lost to the dark?